Well, all eyes are on NASA's stuck astronauts who are now one step closer to touching down back home. They've officially welcomed their replacement crew to the International Space Station, who are set to take over the mission. The successful launch comes after more than 9 long months in orbit, caused by technical issues with their spacecraft Boeing Starliner, which dragged on what was meant to be just an 8-day trip. For more, we're joined live in Houston, Texas by Leroy Chow. Good morning to you. You personally know Sonny and Butch. How do you think they've been feeling after more than 9 months in space?
Well, sure. I know that they're eager to come home. You know, they were expecting an 8-day flight, and here they are into 9 months. So, you know, astronauts were trained to be adaptable, and they've done a superb job doing that. They're consummate professionals, and they've been doing a great job. And they basically took over for 2 crew members that launched about a month after them. So hopefully those 2 astronauts will get reassigned soon. But, you know, 9 months is a long time. A lot happens to the human body when you're up there. And 9 months is about 50% longer than the average, which is around 6 months. So they're eager to come home.
Is there any risk to this sort of trip back home now?
Well, I mean, anytime you get into any kind of a vehicle, right, even an automobile, you're taking some risk. So, but the Dragon spacecraft has been flying for a number of years, hauling both cargo to and from ISS as well as astronauts for around 2.5 years. So, you know, the Falcon 9 rocket's been flying even longer. And so all this equipment has been well wrung out, and it's been very reliable. So the risk is pretty minimal. I would have no trouble getting on one of those vehicles.
So they just dock and then sort of like slide on. How exactly do they do the changeover?
Right. So this is just a regular crew rotation. It happens 3 or 4 times every year. You have a new spacecraft come up and dock to the International Space Station. And then you spend a few days together, up to 7 days or so, kind of doing a transition. And then the crew that's been up there, or part of the crew that's been up there, will get into their separate spacecraft and they will come down. So the spacecraft that you fly up in stays there, and it acts as your lifeboat in case there's some major problem aboard the ISS. You have a vehicle you can come back to Earth in. So it's pretty routine. It's just unusual that Butch and Sonny, you know, like I said, they're supposed to be there only 8 days, and now they're there for over 9 months.
Yeah, it brings new meaning to Gilligan's Island, doesn't it? So they're stuck up there. They're planning for the week. They end up, you know, nearly a year. What condition would their body be in, and what do they have to do when they get back?
Yeah, so there are a number of biomedical challenges and effects when you're in space, especially for a long duration flight. None of them are good. Fortunately, a lot of it is taken care of by exercise. So that's why astronauts are scheduled to exercise 2 hours every day aboard ISS. You have to do cardio work to take care of your heart and your lungs. You have to do resistance, you know, mimic weightlifting type exercises in order to take care of your muscles and your bones. The one thing we can't do much about is radiation. Of course, there's exposed to a higher level of radiation up there when you're outside of Earth's atmosphere. We've also noticed other things, you know, over the last quite a number of years now. Over 70% of astronauts that go on these long flights have had some change to their eyesight, and in some cases, we've seen permanent eye damage. And so a lot of things we don't fully understand about being up there for these long flights, but that's part of why we're there, is to learn and figure out how to deal with it before we can send crews to places like Mars.
Imagine the tests they'll go through when they're back, but they'll be back soon, hopefully. Thank you very much for your time, Leroy. Here's Chevo.